Let me ask you something real. Have you ever had a full day ahead of you, time blocked out, plans made, and still you did nothing? Not because you didn't care, not because you didn't want it, but because something inside felt off. So instead, you checked your phone, scrolled a bit, watched a few reels, listened to a podcast in the background. And suddenly, it's nighttime, you're drained, and nothing meaningful got done. It's easy to blame yourself. We say, I'm just not disciplined, I'm not focused, I've lost my motivation. But what if I told you, motivation isn't your problem, overstimulation is? We live in a world where our minds are being pulled in 100 directions at once. Feeds, pings, ads, replies, notifications. It's not that you're not trying, it's that your brain is overloaded. It's like trying to read poetry in the middle of a rock concert. There's just too much noise. And here's where Viktor Frankl comes in. A psychiatrist who survived the horrors of a Nazi concentration camp. He found purpose in the most purposeless place on earth. He believed that the human spirit doesn't thrive on comfort, but on meaning. And in today's world, meaning is being drowned by distraction. If you've ever wondered why you feel tired before you begin, uninspired by things you used to love, or like your mind is always racing but never arriving, this video is for you. Stick with me until the end, because this isn't just about productivity, it's about getting your soul back. 1. The myth of motivation. We've been sold a lie. That motivation is supposed to feel like a spark, some magical energy that appears out of nowhere, pushing us to act. But in reality, motivation is not a spark. It's a signal. And when your mind is overstimulated, it can't hear that signal clearly. Think of your brain like a radio. When it's constantly bombarded with noise, dopamine spikes from social media, email pings, videos autoplaying, you can't tune in to the frequency of focus, your desire to work, create, reflect. It gets buried beneath static. Viktor Frankl understood this. He believed that people weren't lacking motivation, they were lacking meaning. And when meaning is absent, the mind chases cheap highs to fill the void. The solution isn't to get motivated, it's to get quiet, so you can hear what your soul is actually asking for. 2. The dopamine distortion. Dopamine is not evil, it's essential, it helps us pursue goals and rewards. But in our world today, it's being hijacked. Every time you scroll, you're training your brain to expect instant pleasure, without effort, without meaning. This is called a dopamine loop. It keeps you coming back, refreshing feeds, switching apps, chasing that next quick hit. And over time, your brain becomes desensitized. The things that used to excite you, reading, writing, meaningful work, start to feel boring. But they're not boring. Your brain is just numb. Frankl wrote, "When a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. Let that sink in. Your lack of motivation is not a character flaw, it's a symptom of overstimulation, and healing begins when you allow yourself to be bored again. Because in boredom, you rediscover the beauty of deep work, slow thoughts, and intentional living. 3. Meaning versus pleasure. We live in a society that worships comfort. Avoid pain. Seek pleasure. That's the message. But Viktor Frankl's life tells a different story. Imprisoned in Auschwitz, he lost everything: his wife, his parents, his freedom, and yet he found a reason to live. Frankl discovered that pleasure is fleeting, but meaning endures. He watched people survive the camps not because they were the strongest, but because they had a why. A reason to wake up, even when the world gave them no reason at all. That's how powerful meaning can be. It can keep you alive in the darkest places. When you choose meaning over pleasure, you're not giving up happiness, you're building a deeper, more sustainable version of it. A life that feels full even when it's hard. A life where you're not running from discomfort, but transforming it into something beautiful. 4. The existential vacuum. Frankl coined the term existential vacuum. It's that hollow feeling inside when life feels empty, even though you have everything you thought you wanted. It's the feeling that creeps in after the dopamine wears off, after the party, after the likes, after the binge. In our modern world, the existential vacuum is everywhere. We try to escape it with endless content, stimulation, consumption. But that emptiness? It waits. Because you can't distract your way out of a meaningless life. You have to face it and fill it with purpose. Frankl argued that suffering itself doesn't destroy us. Meaninglessness does. If you don't give your pain a purpose, it will eat you from the inside. But if you can ask, what is this teaching me? How can I grow from this? Who can I serve through my story? Then even suffering becomes sacred. 5. How to build meaning in a noisy world. So how do you reclaim meaning in a world that's constantly screaming for your attention? Frankl said there are 3 paths: creative work, love and suffering transformed. First, creative work. You don't need to be an artist. It could be writing, building, designing, solving problems, any act where you contribute something that didn't exist before. Creation grounds you. It reminds you that you're not just a consumer, you're a creator. Second, love. Not just romantic love, but deep connection, listening to someone, caring, being vulnerable. These moments remind us that we're not alone, that our lives touch others in ways we'll never fully see. Third, and most powerfully, transforming suffering. When you turn your pain into a path, it becomes your gift. Your story becomes someone else's survival guide. Your scars become signs of strength. That's meaning, and it's available to anyone, no matter how broken you feel. 6. Silence, stillness, and the modern mind. In our age of constant input, silence has become a stranger. Most of us don't even realize how afraid we are of it, until it's forced upon us. Try this. Put your phone down, turn everything off, and sit quietly for just 5 minutes. No scrolling, no background music. Just you and your thoughts. What happens? You start to fidget. Your brain jumps from thought to thought. You feel restless. And that discomfort is revealing, because it shows us just how overstimulated we've become. We've trained ourselves to be constantly entertained, to avoid any moment of pause as if it's a threat. But here's the truth. Stillness is not the enemy, it's the cure. Viktor Frankl knew that silence wasn't empty, it was pregnant with insight. When he was imprisoned, cut off from all distractions, he came face to face with the rawest parts of the human experience. And it was in that silence, without stimulation, that he discovered his greatest clarity. He wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose, and in our choice lies our freedom. That space is stillness. Stillness is where your real voice lives, not the one shaped by trends, not the one reacting to the algorithm, but the quiet one underneath, the one that knows who you are when no one's watching. In stillness, you remember your values, your dreams. You reconnect with the deeper self that has been buried beneath the noise." Ancient traditions all pointed to this same idea. The Stoics practiced daily silence to sharpen their minds. Buddhist monks sat in meditation not to escape reality, but to face it more clearly. Even great thinkers like Blaise Pascal said, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. So why does this matter? Because if you never allow silence, you never allow reflection. And without reflection, you can't align your actions with your truth. You become a reactor, not a creator. Overstimulated people don't lack effort, they lack clarity. They're running hard, but in the wrong direction. That's why reclaiming silence isn't just a habit, it's a revolution. It's an act of rebellion against a world that profits from your distraction. It's how you take back your mind, and with it, your life. A final invitation. You are not broken, you are not lazy, you are not weak, you are simply overstimulated, and your soul is begging for meaning. So here's your challenge for one day: unplug, sit in silence, reflect. Ask yourself not what do I feel like doing, but what's worth doing, regardless of how I feel. Like Viktor Frankl said, life is never made unbearable by circumstances but only by lack of meaning and purpose. And in a world full of noise, your greatest rebellion is to listen to the quiet truth within. If this video resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more soul-centered insights like this. Until next time, stay grounded, stay awake, and never stop searching for your why.